Well, it looks like the U.S. Treasuries are getting clobbered, and there's a reason for it. And the reason being that we got the hardcore Republicans basically talking about knocking down, not implementing Obamacare, and they're talking about even if they will try to shut down the government if possible. And they're also talking about the debt ceiling, some things I was talking about before. And now that's coming up to some heavy duty budget fights. Now we're looking at silver and gold still going down, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the overall direction. That's the direction today. But as far as what's going to happen here, I think even in the short term, I have a lot of faith in George Soros because when he talks, he makes a huge bet, a bearish bet on the S&P. I don't classify George Soros in with the rest of them. This guy, he's got $20 billion and he came up from nada, nothing. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He could be making a mistake, but the reason I'm looking at it like it's a legit move is because it's the same type of thing that happened in August of 2011 when they fought over the debt got downgraded back then. That's what happened, though. It ultimately caused the debt rating of the United States to get downgraded. So, but there's a major fight going on still with Obamacare and the debt ceiling. So, if it's the same type of environment is being pushed today, which was in August of 2011, which led to the downgrade of the debt. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but there might be more talk about things like that. And usually when there's problems or any kind of talk where there's problems, where there's going to be the government can't meet its obligations, what's going to happen then is there's going to be more of a move into gold. Now, I know Goldman Sachs, what they said and all that, about their predictions, I don't trust them. It's almost like they got to give you some good stuff to get you to bite, and then all of a sudden they throw you garbage. That's part of the game with anything, right? So I don't really trust them. I think actually this pullback in the metals was just like in 1975, where they had almost a 50% correction, but not quite that much. Well, actually, it was a 50% correction in silver, but not gold, and then it started going up again. But where's really going to see the highest moves? It's going to be made mainly at the end. When everybody's screaming like it's going to go to a moon. You're not going to know exactly when the hell it's going to peak out, but, just selling steps. But I even think that in October, there may be a market pullback. I'm really guessing on this, but October's been... See, this October might be a little different from the last Octobers because, it was in the news before about budget down, the budget problems, downgrading the debt and everything. All that's out of the news. But watch it start cropping up again. They were talking about, after they downgraded the debt, the S&P did that in August of 2011. Oh, Moody's was talking about it. They were warning about it then, and all this kind of stuff. And nothing happened, but it's out of the news. But watch it come back in the news again. Watch it come back. And markets are driven by news stories and emotions, and it's going to be good for gold unexpectedly. But there's going to be a limit to how high it's going to go right away. I mean, gold could do something crazy this year with a combination of a few events where it could actually go over 2,000. Like, it could do that. It's like when it went up basically in 2012 in the beginning of the year. Everybody was expecting, oh, look at a 20% recovery. Silver was up to 35 and all this kind of garbage. Gold was almost up to its all-time high again. It was getting closer to that, and it didn't happen. Actually, in some other currencies, it was up to its all-time high. But the thing is, there's a few things that are coalescing at the same time, which is the budgets, shutting down the government, raising the debt ceiling. The markets are basically way too high for what's actually going on in the underlying economy. And if they have a much severe market correction, I have a lot more faith in George Soros's bet than I do on the other people. I think this guy's really on the money more than anybody. And I know it's not saying he's a popular guy, but I'm just saying I bet you he's correct. I'll bet you he's correct. I don't think he's going to be wrong. He's not infallible. I know Jim Rogers was partnered up with him with Quantum Capital, but I think Soros knows something. When he's making a bet like that, he knows something. But it makes total sense. It makes total sense. So, you might see, these things going on a daily basis where, it's going to be pulling back. I don't think it's going to pull back even to where it was before. And, the 21, the mark or whatever the hell it is. Silver's a crazy animal, though. But the thing is, it will, when it starts taking off, it's going to start taking off like a bat out of hell. And you notice the miners are starting to get life again. That's another indication that's good for the metals. The miners look like they they kind of got life, then they pulled back, but they're up a little higher than they have been from the lowest point about a month ago or so. So that's another good indication that things are looking better. But if you do remember, with the metals, it's even when they start to recover, it's a slow recovery period. It doesn't happen. And then when they really take off, it's all on the end. It's all on the end. They take off like a rocket ship. So, it's like, you're waiting for that period of time. It's not a slow, steady rise. It's not something like it. That's really why they call it a high-risk investment. It's not something where, you're going to have 10% a year, 10% a year, 10% a year. You're going to be having, 0%, negative percent, then all of a sudden 1 year you're going to get 200% or 100% or something. It's going to be like that. And that's exactly the nature of the beast, and that's always been that way with commodities. That's just how they are. And silver is one of the most volatile of all the commodities. So that's why I always said, but high risk can also mean high reward. It can also mean high reward. But you have to have the psychological, first off, if you knew the actual price movements of silver, even on a monthly basis, you'd be a billionaire inside of a year, starting with $1,000, making the right bets. It's that mathematically insane that's what would happen, and that's why nobody is that damn good. Nobody. It's like they always pull out the people that were the bears and were right in the bear market, and all this kind of garbage. I feel that silver is an extremely good investment, and over the next, I think it's going to be in 2014, it's going to be a peak, and also in 2017. And also you might see things heating up here again pretty soon because Treasuries are getting clobbered again. Treasuries are getting clobbered. And it's over this stuff with the funding and delay in Obamacare and all this kind of garbage. And it's like they're going to fight this Obamacare. They're going to fight the budget ceiling. They're going to fight, raising the budget ceiling and all this type of stuff. And that's not going to be good for the U.S. dollar, and it's usually good for the gold. Now, if Moody starts even talking about warning the government about budget problems, even if they issue any statements, it's going to bring up gold more, just without them even downgrading anything or anything. All they have to do is open their mouth and say something, and that will actually psychologically move the markets into gold more. So, the thing is, it's actually going to be a very good investment. And like I said, what we saw for this pullback, we're probably going to see, we saw the pullback in the commodities. They're still very low. We have not seen the pullback in the equities. I got a lot of faith in George Soros. And it's a 6 Hindenburg omens too. And there's nothing, if the commodities, here's another common sense point. If the commodities are low, how the hell could the production of industry be high? In other words, high production of goods and services and strong industry indicates a high demand on commodities. And I'm not just talking silver. They're all down, right? They're all down. So why would the markets be up and all the numbers look rosy with the GDP and all this kind of garbage? How could they be all looking good if the commodities are down? Because they're not. It's fake. And that's why we might see the same type of thing that happened in 2008, where the commodities got hit first and then the equities got hit second. And that's why, it's not just I have faith in George Soros, it's I could see it from several other angles. We already got hit in the commodities, the equities have not got hit. We got the budget fights coming up. We got the debt ceiling fights coming up. They don't want to fund Obamacare coming up. So, you could see the writing on the wall, and it's already today. The Treasuries are getting clobbered, U.S. Treasuries. So, just a patient waiting game. That's all it is. It's like a battle, us against them. That's all I have to say.